Chris Gardner, the founder of Gardner Rich and Co, went from being homeless to building a multi-million-dollar brokerage firm. With nothing but his son, sheer determination, and the belief that a better life was possible, he turned his struggle into success. In the early 1980s, Chris Gardner was on the edge. He didn't have a home, money, or a clear path forward. He was living in shelters, often with his son Christopher, fighting to survive each day. He was a man who had lost everything except his will to succeed. Chris could have given up. Life had already knocked him down hard. But when he saw an opportunity to become a stockbroker, he decided to take a risk, even though he had no formal education, no money for training, and no safety net. He borrowed money for his course, studied at night, and worked grueling day jobs just to keep the lights on. There were days when Chris had nothing to eat, days when he would sleep in train stations or in public bathrooms just to avoid the cold. But the hardest part? Watching his son, the one person he loved more than anything in the world, looked to him for hope when Chris himself was barely hanging on. Despite everything, Chris never stopped pushing. Every no he received, every closed door, only fueled his drive to succeed. He took the rejection, the failure, the pain, and used it as motivation to keep going. Chris didn't just dream about success, he made it happen. After years of struggle, he finally landed a job at a brokerage firm, working long hours and proving his worth. Eventually, he built his own company, Gardner Rich and Co, becoming one of the most successful financial professionals in the country. Chris Gardner's journey reminds us that no matter how dark things get, we have the power to turn our lives around. It's not about where you start, it's about how you rise, how you fight, and how you keep going when everything feels impossible. What's stopping you from turning your own story into a success? The power is in your hands. If you've been here before, drop a hashtag Believe in the comments below so I can feature you here in a future video. And if you're new, welcome to Believe Nation, the only channel that helps you believe in yourself daily, one video at a time. Believe. Early life, breaking the cycle. Chris Gardner was born in Milwaukee, Wisconsin in 1954 to a teenage mother. His childhood was marked by poverty and violence. He never knew his biological father, and his stepfather was abusive to him. At just 5 years old, he made a solemn promise to himself. When he had children, they would know their father and never experience the abuse he endured. Growing up in foster care and living in a poor neighborhood, he learned early that you can only depend on yourself and that the cavalry isn't coming to rescue you. His mother, Betty Jean, was his hero. Despite her own dreams being deferred, she instilled in him the belief that he could have his dreams and that he held the responsibility and power to pursue them. Discovering purpose in the Navy. After high school, Gardner joined the U.S. Navy and served as a hospital corpsman. He studied medicine under Dr. Robert Ellis and even co-authored medical research, but ultimately he felt his calling to business, not medicine. Once his military service ended, he sold medical equipment for a living, yet he felt unfulfilled. That's where fate intervened in the form of a red Ferrari. Meeting a man with a red Ferrari. One day in 1981, he spotted a well-dressed man stepping out of a red Ferrari and asked him, "What do you do and how do you do it?" The man, a stockbroker, Bob Bridges, explained that he worked on Wall Street. Gardner didn't have a college degree, didn't have connections, didn't have money, but he decided he wanted that lifestyle. He wanted his red Ferrari. He began cold calling brokerage houses, determined to land a training slot. Persistence paid off for him when Dean Witter Reynolds accepted him into its intensive stockbroker training program. Gardner had found the right venue his mother had once told him about. Homeless with a toddler, baby steps count too. Gardner's success didn't happen overnight. While he trained at Dean Witter, there was no salary, and his relationship with his girlfriend fell apart. She left him and their toddler son, Christopher, giving him custody. Gardner soon found himself homeless, pushing his son's stroller through the streets of San Francisco while studying for his Series 7 exam and working odd jobs. He and his child slept wherever they could, shelters, parks, even public bathrooms. Through it all, he never lost focus on being a devoted father. Gardner said he chose to embrace the spirit of my mother and refused to let his son experience the neglect that he knew growing up. During this period, he attended Glide Memorial Church, which operated one of the shelters. Pastor Cecil Williams told him that baby steps count too, a phrase that became Gardner's mantra. He would whisper it while pushing his son up and down San Francisco's hills, reminding himself that as long as he was moving forward, even small progress mattered. And that mindset helped him survive months of homelessness and relentless rejection. In his own words, As long as you are going forward, baby steps count too. Also, if you want to take real action after this video, I made a free worksheet just for you. It covers the top lessons from today, gives you space to write your biggest takeaways, and helps you build a simple action plan. It's 100% free. Just click the link in the description to go grab it. I'll see you there. Breaking into Wall Street. Despite his circumstances, Gardner poured his heart into the training program. He studied late at night, juggling daycare and long commutes. He was the only trainee in his class to be offered a full-time job. With his Series 7 license in hand, he moved to Bear Stearns and quickly climbed the ranks. In 1987, just a few years after being homeless, he founded Gardner Rich and Co. with only $10,000 and a wooden desk. He named the firm after Mark Rich, one of the most successful traders of the era. Gardner's business thrived, eventually executing major trades for wealthy clients. Even at the height of his success, he kept his commitments to fatherhood. He would leave work at midday to pick up his son from daycare and then return to the trading floor in the evening. He also remembered to give back. He supported the Glide Memorial Church and the CARA program for job training, and his company partnered with organizations addressing homelessness and domestic violence. When he sold his stake in 2006, Gardner became CEO of Christopher Gardner International Holdings, continuing to invest and advise globally. Becoming an author and motivational icon. In 2006, Gardner published The Pursuit of Happiness, an autobiographical book detailing his struggles and ultimate triumph. The book became a #1 New York Times bestseller and inspired a film starring Will Smith and Jaden Smith. Gardner trusted the filmmakers to tell his story authentically, even taking Will Smith to the BART station bathroom where he once slept with his son. The film's emotional bathroom scene became a powerful symbol of hope, capturing a moment he washed his son in a sink and headed to work armed only with his idea. 3 years later, he released Start Where You Are, offering practical strategies for overcoming obstacles and building resilience. Gardner continually reinvents himself as a teacher and mentor. His speeches around the world emphasizes themes like purpose-driven persistence, spiritual genetics, and the 5 C's of self-empowerment: clarity, consistency, courage, conviction, and compassion. He reminds audiences that there is no plan B for passion, one of his most famous quotes. Permission to Dream. New Frameworks for Success. Gardner's 2021 book, Permission to Dream, outlines a blueprint for creating your own dream come true life. In it, he introduces the new 3 R's: rep, rap, and Rolodex, meaning build a strong reputation, rep, learn to market yourself, rap, and nurture meaningful relationships. That's the Rolodex. He argues that success isn't just about personal gain, it's about enriching the lives of others and creating lasting impact for everyone. Gardner has formalized these ideas through the Chris Gardner Foundation and its Permission to Dream program, which provides resources like resume building workshops, career videos, and mentorship opportunities. The program has reached over 400 schools and 100,000 students. Students learn goal setting, financial literacy, and the importance of breaking cycles of poverty. Gardner also partners with organizations such as NASA and MasterCard to expand his outreach. New mission, Permission to Dream 2.0 and Transfer. Gardner never stops innovating. In 2024, he partnered with the virtual reality company Transfer and became its chief evangelist. Together, they launched Permission to Dream 2.0, Pathways to Success. The program leverages VR to give young people hands-on experience in high-demand careers and offers an alternative to traditional 4-year degrees. Gardner believes that education, exposure, and preparation are the keys to economic empowerment and breaking the cycle of poverty. The initiative will present annual Transfer Trailblazer Awards and aims to reach thousands more students by 2025. This partnership reflects Gardner's deep conviction that the American dream is still alive, but must be actively cultivated. He wants to ensure that the next generation has the tools, not just the permission, to dream big and bring those dreams to life. As he told audiences recently, "I'm encouraged by what I see of men trying to be there for their children. So many men have holes in their souls the shape of their fathers. You can pass that on to your kid, or you can do something about it. And I'm seeing a lot of men do something about it." Lessons and takeaways. So here are some of my favorite lessons from Chris Gardner's story. Number 1, commit to your purpose. Gardner's story teaches us that passion requires commitment. There is no plan B. Even when he was homeless, he kept pushing towards his goal of becoming a stockbroker. Next, break cycles through intention. His vow to be a present father and to not repeat cycles of abuse shows the power of conscious decisions. We all have the ability to decide what patterns end with us. Next, baby steps matter. Progress isn't always dramatic. Pastor Cecil Williams' reminder that baby steps count too empowered Gardner to keep moving forward even on days when all he could do was push a stroller through the rain. Next, leverage your story to empower others. Gardner's success didn't make him complacent. He used his story to inspire students to advocate for financial literacy and domestic violence awareness and create programs like Permission to Dream. Next, expand access to opportunity. Through initiatives like Permission to Dream 2.0, he's focused on education, exposure, and preparations as key to economic empowerment. Next, stay humble and grateful. Even after making millions of dollars, Gardner never forgot the people who helped him, and he continues to support shelters like the Glide Memorial Church and training programs like CARA. Your call to action. Chris Gardner's journey reminds us that where you start doesn't define where you end up. Whether you're struggling in your career, you're facing financial hardship, you're dealing with some personal setbacks, remember that small steps forward do add up. If Chris Gardner could drag a stroller through the streets and still study for licensing exams, you can keep going too. So, what promises do you need to make to yourself or your family? The power to transform your life is in your hands. And congratulations, you're one video closer to who you're meant to be. Believe. To watch the incredible story of Tony Robbins going from janitor to multimillionaire, check the video right there next to me. I think you'll love it. Continue to believe, and I'll see you there. Imagine growing up never knowing if there'd be food on the table. That was Tony Robbins' reality. He was born in 1960 and raised in a chaotic and abusive household. Tony was the oldest of 3,